Embark on a career journey that transcends boundaries and impacts communities. Join the state of Nebraska, where innovation meets purpose and your contributions shape the future. As a valued member of our team, discover a broad range of opportunities spanning from public service to cutting-edge technology. Be a part of something bigger, where your skills make a difference, your growth is fostered, and your commitment to excellence is celebrated. With hundreds of positions waiting to be filled, Nebraska State Government opens doors to fulfilling careers. Explore these opportunities at statejobs.nebraska.gov. Click on the Find a State Job link and take the first step towards your next great career in the Cornhusker State. This is the Good Life, Great Careers podcast, your gateway to a world of career opportunities within Nebraska State Government. In each episode, we present a different state public servant as our honored guest, offering them a platform to share their unique journey in public service. Join us as they provide valuable insights, offer tips, and perhaps unveil exciting opportunities within their state agency.
Welcome to the Good Life, Great Careers podcast. My name is Brian Spick, and I am the Director of Workforce Training and Development for the state of Nebraska. I'm joined by my co-host, Caitlin Betts, who is the Director of Talent Acquisition for the state of Nebraska. Today, our guest is Casey Ricketts with the Nebraska Racing and Gaming Commission. Casey currently serves as the Executive Director for the Commission. Previously, she served as the Interim Director as well as the Director of Compliance and an investigator. She has over 2 decades of public safety and regulatory experience in her career, which includes being an investigative sergeant with the University of Nebraska Lincoln Police Department and a deputy sheriff with Dawson County. Casey, thank you for joining us today. I know you're super busy, so really appreciate you taking time.
Thank you guys for having me
to talk with us. So I'd like to just turn it over to you so our listeners can get to know you. Could share a little bit about yourself and your career.
Well, first off, I got to start off with no relation to Senator Pete Ricketts. Okay. I get that question all the time. So no relation. So I've been a law enforcement officer for over 20 years now. Okay. Started my career off in Dawson County, Nebraska. So that's Lexington, Cozad area for those that don't know. And then in 2008, I came over to the University of Nebraska Lincoln Police Department, and I was a patrol sergeant, but I also spent some time as the investigative sergeant. And then I took a break for a little bit. I wanted to focus on being mom. Yep. And so I did actually join the state of Nebraska back in 2019, where I went to work for the Nebraska Department of Revenue. Okay. And then when the Nebraska Racing Gaming Commission was formed, I decided to take the leap because I thought it would be exciting to help start a new agency. So I came over in 22.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the Racing and Gaming Commission does?
Yeah. So our job is to regulate not only the racetracks, but the casinos within the licensed racetrack enclosures. So our job is to ensure that the integrity is there for both the racing and for the gaming. So it's been exciting.
And now the Racing Commission existed previously, is that correct?
It did,
okay.
Yes.
And then when the gambling was expanded in Nebraska, then that's when it became the Racing and Gaming Commission?
It did, yeah. And so all of our existing staff that we have now all started in 22.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
We are a brand new agency. I think for the agency, I was the 6th person hired.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And not even a month later, we opened our first casino.
Oh,
so I think it's pretty amazing, a lot of stuff that our agency has managed to accomplish, not only a short amount of time, but as we're continue to grow.
Yeah. So when it was, what was the employee count, I guess? How big was the agency when it was just Racing Commission? And then how big is it now?
I believe they had 2 full-time staff. So you
small.
had the previous executive director and then the licensing manager. Okay. And then now we're up to 33.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Staff.
So significant growth.
Yeah.
And is it, do you foresee it continuing to grow then as well, or?
I do, but a lot of it, we got to see how things play out, right? We've been opening temporary casinos. We do have Columbus, Nebraska was our first permanent casino. Okay. We have Omaha that just opened as well, and then Lincoln just opened their phase 2. So we kind of need to see what that looks like, and we'll make determinations on how we grow the agency from there.
Okay.
So you started at the agency as an investigator, is that right?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So what are you investigating?
So the investigators, they handle a lot on the racing side, work the backside, do races. Even as the executive director, I still like to go work the backside, so I'll still do that anyways. But we also conduct backgrounds. So with all licensing applications, not only for the racing side, but for the gaming side too. So we're doing a lot of different background investigations. Plus we also handle anything that's within our purview under state statute.
Now, previously you were director of compliance for the commission. What did that entail?
That entailed a lot. So when I started with the agency in 22, I actually started as an investigator. Like I said, I was the sixth person hired, and we really didn't have a compliance division yet, even though we did have it slated in our org chart. So really what that entails is my staff, we verify all the software once it arrives in Nebraska. We approve all the slot machines that come into Nebraska. We have to make sure that they have been tested by an independent approved lab here in the state of Nebraska. We do have 2 of those. Okay. We also review all their internal controls. We look at all the regulations. We're ensuring that they are abiding by their internal controls. We have minimum internal control standards that are posted on our website that everyone has to adhere to. But then each property can develop their own internal control standards. And our job over as the director and just on the compliance side alone is to review those, make sure they do meet the minimum internal control standards.
Okay.
And we perform audits. We look at any type of what are considered violations. And that could be something as simple as when you're counting money, we have the cash box. You have to clear it with surveillance and show that the box is empty.
Oh, okay.
If you have failed to do that, that could be considered a violation while it's a smaller one. We look for things like that. Are they following the rules?
Is the audits, when the audits are done, is that auditing like the books and all that, or and the procedures, or is it also auditing the machines again to make sure that those are still functioning correctly?
Yeah, so we do many different types. So we have slot machine audits too. It can be a variety of things. Anytime anybody gets into a slot machine, they have what's called a meal book, and everybody has to sign, why are you getting into this machine daytime? So we can go through an audit to make sure and review camera footage. Were they in there properly? Are they filling all the things out? We also just keys. We're auditing the keys. Are they following their internal control standards? So that's kind of the different various types of audits that we do. The financial side handles more with our finance department.
Okay.
So
is there a certain cadence for the audits with the?
We do have our monthly and we have quarterly audits that we do, plus our semi-annual, but a lot of it is you don't want to be so prescribed. Some of them can just be based off of, they send us reports, like their surveillance reports or security reports, just based off what we read on it. We may notice something, so we may want to go do just a quick little audit.
Sounds like there's a lot of different moving parts that you guys are responsible for. I mean,
there are.
How do you make sure that's all working together, and what do you find most challenging about that?
Being a new agency, I think what people need to remember is we're literally building from the ground up. So I affectionately like to say we've been flying the plane as we're building it. And so obviously we've had to evolve how we've done it even from 22. So what I started doing as the compliance director in 22, we've changed how we do it. I mean, we're still truly so new. We're having to take a look at our processes and adapt and evolve based off if we're finding something's not working or we need to have a better workflow. We're constantly adapting. I can't say that we have it down pat perfect yet.
It sounds like an exciting time though. I mean, because
it is.
And I like your visual that you gave of building the plane as you're flying it.
Yeah.
Now you're new into like the permanent executive director role. How is it at the time of this recording? Is it like 4 weeks?
I'm official. Yeah.
Yeah. I know is it 4 weeks now? About
almost,
a month or so? Yeah.
About a month. Yeah.
So, and then was it January that you were the interim director? So I guess, could you talk a little bit maybe how that, prepared you for what you're doing now? I'm assuming it's somewhat still flying by the seat of your pants, in the permanent role, but, if it's just that transition and then being the interim, now being the permanent, kind of that.
I tried to approach the interim position as us moving forward. I didn't try to look at it so much as an interim because we needed to keep things moving. Yeah. And I have to say, we have an amazing staff at our agency because I couldn't have done anything without all of them. My goal for 24 for our agency when we started was I wanted more policies, procedures, things of that in place. Like I said, I started a month later, we opened our first casino. So we've really just been kind of moving along. And I think we all really came together well, and we just continued moving forward. So I can't say that a ton has changed since I took over as the executive role. I mean, obviously there are some changes, but I've always tried to operate that this is us, we're moving forward.
You mentioned you're kind of in a wait and see whether or not you'll have more opportunities, but do you have career opportunities available now if someone's interested in working in racing and gaming?
We do. So I have one position open currently. It closes next Thursday. So unfortunately, I think by the time this airs, we won't see it. I have the director of compliance position open. So that is to replace me. We do have, as we continue to expand, we will have probably more compliance specialist positions open and licensing. Yes. So we will have a licensing specialist. So their job is to grab the application, or it gets sent to them. They review the application. And then part of our workflow is then it would go over to an investigator for a background review and supplemental reviews. So eventually we'll have those hired as well, but I don't think I have anything currently open right now.
So can you walk through a little bit the process if a new casino wants to open up in Nebraska? What does that process look like?
That's a very lengthy process. So we do have an authorized gaming operator application, but here's the thing. People need to remember you have to have a racetrack before you have a casino. Okay. So if it's a new property, not one of our current existing ones, that would qualify for a racetrack, we actually need to have them fill out an authorized racetrack operator's application first. So you have to apply to even get a racetrack. So that's the first step, is you need to build a racetrack.
You say racetrack, like live races or
live racing? Yeah.
Yep.
Horses and yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Is it exclusively horse racing, or is it dog racing as well?
We just have horse racing here in Nebraska. Okay. Right. Yeah. We do thoroughbreds and quarter horse. So.
And forgive me, I'm ignorant when it comes to like the horse racing
I'm
stuff.
Still learning too, so you're good.
So the regulations or the compliance stuff that your agency works with on the racing side, is it, what aspects are you guys looking at when it comes to the racetrack? Is it, you guys deal with the horses? Is there things like that?
We're responsible for like the test barn. Okay. So I supply the state veterinarian. Okay. We also provide the test barn staff. So if you have a winning horse, it does go to the test barn for drug and urine testing. So that's our staff that does that to ensure the integrity there. We also have a state steward that is employed by our agency as well. And there's 3 stewards that they're to speak layman's terms, the judges, so to speak. And so one is the state steward, and then we have 2 association stewards.
Okay. Are the horses that compete, I guess, at these tracks, are they from all over? Did they come into Nebraska, or did they have to register with Nebraska then?
Yep. So they ship in. We do a whole licensing process, but per state statute, they have to run one Nebraska bred race a day during our race meet. So all Nebraska breds. But yeah, so that's people that ship in horses. They work with our agency and our licensing staff to get licensed on the racing side of things.
So I noticed on the website, there's a section on your website about responsible gambling. Could you talk a little bit about that, of just like some of the resources that are available and the role that the commission plays, or that your agency plays with that piece of it?
So we make sure to put the Bet Over hotline number on our website as well. We have to approve every casino's problem gaming and human trafficking plan as part of their opening process. So we take a look at that. And we also have a really good working relationship with the problem gaming groups. We actually, one of the things I'm pretty proud of is when we got started, we kind of formed a human trafficking problem gaming roundtable that the commission kind of spearheads. We're in partnership with the problem gaming side as well as other human trafficking preventative entities. And it's kind of great. It's something that gets all the casinos, our staff, local law enforcement, people from problem gaming. We all kind of come together, and we've been doing it for the past year now. We meet about once a month. We offer different training, and we really wanted to be an area where you can have that open conversation. We recognize that with casinos, there's obviously problem gaming. There can be the potential there for human trafficking. We wanted to be good stakeholders with our partners in that. And so we've kind of formed that group, and I'm really proud of it.
So you mentioned you talk about trainings and those kinds of things. What else are you doing in that roundtable?
So right now we're just doing the trainings, but we kind of went a year. Now we're taking a pulse with our stakeholders to kind of see where do we want this roundtable to go. I would encourage anybody to tune in when we have those. Are open to the public. I'm always open for suggestions. Our intent of this was truly to get people talking and get that conversation rolling. While training's good, I really want it to be how can we help the casinos? How can the casinos help us? I mean, a lot of these, they've been doing it in other areas. So it's just a good time to educate. I think education's a huge piece in it, but a lot of it comes from that conversation and shared experiences that we've had.
Yeah, that's awesome. You pull everyone together, those stakeholders.
Yeah.
With this, being relatively new in Nebraska, are there any unique challenges that you're aware of to Nebraska compared to other states, with the expanded gambling that there is in the state now?
I don't know if we per se have any unique challenges, because I'm sure every state had their unique challenges. If you think about it, it's still relatively new across the country, especially in terms of sports wagering.
Yep.
I would say maybe a unique is where in Nebraska currently you cannot wager on in-state collegiate sports. Yeah. So that's probably unique for Nebraska a little bit. Okay. But, I think probably a challenge for us here in Nebraska, both for the casino side and for the regulatory side, is this is new for all of us. And so, we're all learning together too. I mean, we've got experienced casinos that have come in, but, I like to call them boots on the ground. Like, they're learning too with us. So it's been definitely a learning curve, I think, for everyone.
So earlier you mentioned you started your state career at a different agency. How did that experience help you, especially as you've transitioned into the leader of your current agency?
With Department of Revenue. So I was hired in 2019 at the Department of Revenue, and I was actually the primary investigator for what we call skill devices here in the state of Nebraska. So those would be the slot looking machines that you see in the gas stations and things of that nature. So I actually had zero experience with gaming until that experience. And while it's a different type, it was kind of a good segue that kind of helped. So it wasn't completely foreign when I came over to gaming.
So those don't qualify as like a slot machine or a casino. That's a separate whole thing. Yeah. Okay.
That falls under Nebraska Department of Revenue Charitable Gaming. So for those of you that may be watching, if you have an issue in terms of those machines in the gas station, please call Nebraska Department of Revenue Charitable Gaming. I am happy to forward your message when you do call me, but unfortunately it's not under my jurisdiction. So
I guess, what advice would you give to anyone who might be looking for a career, in gaming regulation or just in public service in general? You've had an interesting career. What advice would you have to somebody who's just starting out, I guess, that may be looking at that path?
I've always enjoyed working for the state, and I know I can speak for myself personally. I think we have a great benefits package. I really do. I think working for the state of Nebraska definitely promotes a good work-home life balance, right? Yeah. I have worked in law enforcement for many years where you work nights, holidays, weekends, and, sometimes it's hard on your home life, and, you get to miss some of those big events. But I will say, working for the state of Nebraska, you get to be there for those things. Yeah. And I think that that's amazing. And even with our agency, you know, the people we regulate, the businesses, a lot of them are 24 hours, right? Yeah. And racing is on weekends. So sometimes our staff have to work weekends, and sometimes they work some interesting hours depending on the need. But we always ensure that you get your time off and find something you love. Yep. Like, I could honestly say that I love my agency, and I'm not just saying that because I'm the head of it or anything like that. When I joined the Nebraska Racing and Gaming Commission, I knew that it was probably going to be tough, right? We were building from the ground up, where other state agencies, you have the luxury of having all these policies, procedures in place, and you have all these processes. You know exactly the first day on the job, you know how everything's going to go. We've had to build it as we're doing it. And so there's a lot of hurdles in that. And when I've hired people, I've made sure to say, it's not going to be perfect. There are going to be a few bumps, but you know what? I come to work every day and I love it.
That's awesome.
Love the idea that I get to help build something that I can look back in 5 years and be like, I helped create that. Mm-hmm. And I empower everyone that works at the agency. You're helping create that. Like, this is your division. Help us grow it. You tell us how you think things should be. Yeah. So if I could promote anything about our agency, it would be that. I think the fact that we want to hear your voice. We want you to help us build this. We're brand new. And so I want people that want to be a part of a team. I have a lot of high achievers in my agency, which is awesome, because that's why they joined. I didn't promise them perfect. I didn't promise them that everything's figured out, but we're all in it together, and you have the opportunity to help us create. And I think a lot of people love that idea.
Yeah.
We've all worked somewhere where we're like, man, I really wish I could change this or that, right? We're in a perfect opportunity right now to be able to do that.
That's awesome. So no doubt you're super busy. Your staff is super busy. You talked about work-life balance. What are things you do to hobbies, or just in your downtime? What do you enjoy doing?
I'm kind of nerdy. I like reading. Yep. I will read anything. I don't have like a certain genre or anything. I love cooking too. So probably those two things, cooking and reading, are probably my favorite things to do, and just spend time with my family.
Cooking wise, do you enjoy, like, is there a certain dish, or do you just like trying different recipes and experimenting?
I love trying different recipes, and I love experimenting. My family may not always love it, but I like it.
Awesome.
That's great.
Anything we covered a lot of ground. Anything we didn't touch on that you would like to touch on?
Not really. Just that I can't stress enough how proud I am of everybody that works for our agency. Yeah. Like, I am very proud. I think that we've accomplished so much in these past 2 years that if you think back and look, we have opened a brand new racetrack. We have opened 4 casinos. We have launched sports wagering, and that's all in 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
When I go to other jurisdictions, they sometimes are like, wow, you guys have done all that in that amount of time. And it's like, yeah, we have. In our first year, we had 8 of us by the end of the first year. And now we're up to 33. So we are definitely growing fast. We've had growing pains. We've had, but it has been fun.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more happy with the people that I have underneath me, because they're truly the ones that have made this happen.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So.
Yep. Love it.
All right. Well, then that leads us to our famous hot seat that aren't really hot seat questions. So we'll kick it off with an easy one. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Me too. It's an easy one. What's your go-to comfort food?
Swedish fish. I'm a candy person.
Yeah.
I like,
Yep. You got a big sweet tooth then?
I'm weird. Not like with cakes or anything like that, but I love like candy. Yeah. Candy is my thing.
Yeah.
What is something that most people would be surprised to learn about you?
I have my cosmetology license.
Okay.
Don't judge my hair today, though.
It's a bad hair day with the rain.
I know.
If you could travel to any past decade, which one would you choose?
60s.
Any particular reason?
I feel the time in the history that was going on during the 60s, so many things happened. I would have loved, good and bad, right? But I would have loved to have just been a fly on the wall during all of that.
Yeah.
So the whole decade, or is there a portion of the decade?
No, the whole decade. That was a huge decade.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of things happened.
Yeah.
If there was a movie about your life, who would be cast to play you?
Oh my goodness. I have no clue. No clue. Who do you think?
Tough one.
You guys have talked
I
about
don't know. I'm really bad at like actor names, so I don't know. I'm going to defer to Brian.
Yeah, no, I'm staying out of this one.
All right, pass. All right, any final advice you would give to someone interested in pursuing a career with the state of Nebraska?
I would say do it. Like I said, it has the best work-home life balance. When you're younger, I think you take that for granted. You really do. But as you get older, you tend to appreciate those things. And so, I mean, depends what you want to go into, like I said. But I think the work-home life balance is great. And I love having holidays off. So,
I agree on both of those. Yes.
It is nice.
All right. Well, Casey, thank you again for your time today. It's been great to learn about you and the great work that your agency does. For our listeners, if you want to check out our great career opportunities, go to statejobs.nebraska.gov and click on Find a State Job. While you're there, you can also find links to our Nebraska State Job social media, including Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We'd love to have you follow us there to learn even more about our great careers. If you want to learn more about the Racing and Gaming Commission, go to racingcommission.nebraska.gov and click careers for career information. There's also a lot of great content on the Nebraska Department of Administrative Services YouTube channel, including this podcast, so make sure to hit subscribe there so you can be notified when future podcast episodes drop. On behalf of our guest, Casey Ricketts, my co-host Brian, and myself, I want to thank you for tuning in and learning more about the great careers here in the Good Life.